Hello, I'm Rochelle. Welcome to my vlog, Get Woke 'Cause It's Hot. So we start each segment with doing just that. We just take a couple really deep breaths and soften all the space around our eyes. Maybe find a little smile. Just bringing a soft, loving gaze into our eyes. And just noticing how much better you look. So even when you can't seem to find it in you to want to be present for the right reasons, just do it because you look better when you do it. And we'll do anything to look better. And then just notice how much better you feel, right? So today we're just talking about the art of doing nothing. I've got it mastered. Now I just need to start integrate doing something again, because that's not what we're talking about today. So the art of doing nothing, it can be a hard one to learn. Most of my life I knew nothing of it, and I had just been kind of go. And I was proud of that. I thought that was who I was, and I was driven, motivated, focused, and I would very rarely just like sit down during the day to just be, or even consider like taking a nap or just putting my feet up or anything like that. And in the last couple of years, I've really learned how to not just be lazy, because I think sometimes we make this, we confuse this, because I'll have friends that are like, I did nothing all day, but then really it turns out they watched a movie, they read a book, they took a nap. Nothing wrong with any of those things, but it's not doing nothing, because all of those things are doing something. And even if they weren't doing any of those things, the chances are they were probably engaging in mental activity. And that's not only something, it's something most of us spend way too much time doing. And I think it's one of the biggest reasons why we have resistance to doing nothing, because you end up just engaging in this mental activity that doesn't always feel productive, right? So when you first start sitting down to do nothing, you might need to make it more structured, or think about meditating to try not to engage in mental activity. Or you might have your own ways or thoughts or tricks of the mind to try to get yourself to a place where you're not constantly pondering everything, because that's all our mind does all the time. It's trying to figure everything out, trying to piece it all together. And when we can go beyond that place where the thoughts are, something really starts to happen. But before we can get there, all of the repressed emotions we've had for our entire lives come up first. So another reason why we resist it. So from the time we're little, we're kind of told or conditioned that certain emotions aren't appropriate. And, maybe our parents were good about it and just letting us know that we are allowed to feel whatever we're feeling, but we need to do it in our room because nobody else wants to deal with it. But maybe they just flat out told you that you shouldn't feel that way, that it's inappropriate. And nevertheless, we all start to, most of us start to suppress our emotions. And then as you get older, and some little thing makes you really mad, and it's like not proportionate, like you're like, why am I so mad? This was just a little thing. And then so we continue the narrative of going, I better just shove this down there. I don't want anybody to know I got this mad about a little tiny thing. And so we keep doing it. And so we don't allow ourselves to feel what we're feeling. And when you sit down to do nothing, it might just start with 5 minutes, but once you can get to where you're doing it for an hour, all of this stuff will come up. And it's not always fun or enjoyable. It's work, and it can be hard work. And if you can let all of this move through you, just having faith that you are strong enough to deal with it, that it's not going to tear you apart, that you can, in fact, hold it together while you fall apart as well. And so you let all this stuff come through you, and eventually, after you've spent enough time in meditation or in silence, you'll start to notice that you'll come into alignment where now the emotion seems more appropriate to the thing. And so now it feels justified to allow yourself to feel it when you're feeling it, and to not continue to suppress. And now you're starting to really get tuned in to your intuition, to your highest truth, to nature, to whatever's going on around us. Now we don't have to just kind of dissociate from it because we aren't allowing ourselves to feel whatever we're feeling. Those are our antennas, our senses, our feelers, you know. And now we're allowing them to calibrate and to work properly. So just an invitation. Maybe you have a weird taste in your mouth about meditation and you don't want to meditate, but just make some time to do nothing. And just notice when you start to do it, your mind will try to convince you that you're wasting your time, that you're being lazy, that there's a million other things you should be doing. And when you don't listen to its narrative, it'll like even say like, oh, what's wrong with me? Why am I not feeling productive in this moment? And I just invite you to just let go of that narrative, to move past where the thoughts are, and to realize that we're not supposed to be doing something all day. Really, most of our wisdom and our alignment comes from a place when we're not physically or mentally doing anything, when we're finding stillness, when we're able to not need to grab the next thing for the next little ping or endorphin rush, because that's what you'll start to realize after you start being able to enjoy doing nothing. You'll realize that almost everything that you filled your life with previously was an escape. Even maybe work, even the productive and good things. You know, you were doing something because you didn't like the way that you felt. And since you weren't allowed to feel the way that you felt, you had to just do something to change it. Grab the pill, the sugar, the food, the sex, any activity that's going to change the way that you feel. And you realize that once you're no longer just doing things to get out of the state you're in, because you actually like the state you're in, now you'll feel all of this energy and you'll want to do the things. You won't feel this overwhelming sense of, oh, I have to do this. You'll want to do it, and you'll enjoy doing it because you've rewired that programming of thinking that like you have to do this, or you're a piece of shit, or you've rewired that. Your mind has made up these stories about not only you, but what you should be doing with your life, what your life should look like, what other people's lives should look like. And as long as we don't ever find that stillness and allow all those things to come up, we're operating under that program of this voice that we're not even really sure what it comes from, other than a fear of death. It's the reptilian brain. It's the unconscious part of your mind that's basically just trying to keep you alive. But in doing so, it's keeping you from really living, because as long as we follow that voice, we are almost certain to have attachments, things that we have emotional attachments to. And when you're in that space, you can't really enjoy life, because at any moment, your peace, your happiness can get taken away from you, because you've given the power, the key to your happiness, away to some other thing. And now it can just be pulled away from you. And that is a scary place, a place where it makes sense to be constantly on edge and worried about everything, right? But when we finally start to allow ourselves to do nothing, our conscious mind starts to come around. When you just leave space, when you don't fill every bit of space with words or sounds or somebody else's sounds, or words, or even just your own, making your own noises or words. When you leave some space, that's when the parts of us that are not manifest yet, call it God, call it love, call it the truth, that's when they get to seep in. When we have it filled every little bit of time and space with an activity, event, an idea, a judgment, a thought. When we're just holding space for things to be as they are, not trying to define everything in the moment, just letting it be what it is, that's when you start to see the magic. That's when you start to feel this deep sense of peace and joy. But it's not right away. So I'm just inviting you to try it out and then stick with it. I know it won't be fun at first, and you'll be like, fuck this isn't for me, like I just need to be doing something, And I think that it's a lot of people find their peace from different things. So there might be activities where you find your peace doing it. And I'm not trying to diminish that or act like the only way to find this peace is from stillness. I'm just inviting you to do it because, for one, if you have like a thing, like you listen to a certain song and it turns that part of your brain off, the narrator, and allows you to experience this peace I'm talking about. But then what if at some point, somewhere, you're imprisoned and you don't have access to that thing? You don't want that thing to have the power to your peace. It doesn't mean it's bad, and it doesn't mean it's wrong to use that thing to find that place of peace. But finding the deepest sense of peace, it comes from knowing that you can access this place of peace anywhere, anytime, no matter what. And I mean, I think a lot of people call it the peace of God, but it's just knowing that no matter what is going on, that you have access to this other place that isn't just a body that can be killed, that is something way beyond anything that this mind can grasp. And spending time there gives us this reassurance that even after this heart stops beating, that there's another adventure, or that there's, that there's something. So spend a little time doing nothing at all, and don't let yourself say I'm being lazy, or I should be doing something else. I mean, if you can, just become the observer and notice that narrator and laugh at them, trying to convince you that there's something more important than doing in this moment than finding peace. We all say we want peace in the world, and then most of us aren't dedicated to finding that peace within. We'll just run around chaotically, getting things done, looking for that next little ping to feel okay till the next, thing comes along. But if we really can, like Gandhi says, be the change we want to see in the world and be that peace by finding stillness, then things start to shift. The only way you can make this world a more peaceful place is by finding that peace within. So, just remember, it might not be fun at first, but just know that it's worth it. If you can, let all those childhood traumas, all those stories you didn't even know were there, come up. Maybe you'll need to scream and yell. Maybe you need a couple days out away from anybody to really just let it all come up. And don't be afraid of it. Don't be like, oh, it's coming on, I better grab a pill, do the thing, suppress it. Nope, let it come. Let it come. It will not kill you. It might be painful. It might even be physically painful. When we don't listen to the narrative of the mind, the programming is trying to tell you, it can become extremely uncomfortable. And sometimes people even say painful, but it will pass. And that's the moment where you're showing this dedication to letting all the junk move on through so that you can calibrate and align, so that you can find this peace that this world needs more of. All right, let me know how it goes for you. Sorry, my mouth is not moving at the same time as the words. I got to work on all this techie stuff.